my role into this project was that of administrator. I'm an administrator of the municipality of Viadana, the leading municipality for the project, and I deal in particular with social services. So I deal with the particular aspect of the immigration issue, which is the first that appears, at least in our experience, differently from the Irish experience. Immigration in Viadana can be subdivided in three waves. The early 80s, there were basically men coming from North Africa, and they were not, however, invasive. They were very low in numbers, and they didn't bring families. Then there was the second wave, about 10 years later, after the fall of the Berlin Wall, that were women, mainly coming from the East, Eastern Europe, basically, with the phenomenon of home carers. As I said, there is a strong presence of elderly people in our area, and as women in the territory work a lot, there is a strong need for home caring figures. And more recently, and in high numbers, the third wave was that of young people looking for a job, so workers both in workshops and in agriculture. The Viadana municipality is the biggest municipality after Milan is in Lombardy. So we have a very, very wide extension. There are about 30 kilometers from one hamlet to the other. So this is just to give you an idea of the structure of the area. The last wave of migration was marked by many family reunions. It involved people who decided to live in Italy or in Europe, but to live in the European Union. So we have now classes at school where children that have foreign parents are more numerous than children who have local parents. And this is a significant change. The social services and teachers have been the first to react. I'm an administrator, but I really must say that the first to react have been civil servants, teachers with the problem of language, social workers, in particular for housing needs, housing and support to families, so the school social workers, and then voluntary workers, because there is big attention on the area, irrespective of the political inclination. So I underline this, it's not only the Catholic organizations, the Italian culture in general is a culture that welcomes foreigners, so there is a spontaneous solidarity, sometimes contradictory with voting at the elections, but there is a big idea of solidarity and help. So I was the counter to social worker, to social activities. We didn't have a strategy, and as Augusta said in the beginning, the political preoccupation, and today we are voting, as you know, so we are going to see what happens, but the preoccupation of the administrators has been that of getting votes, and therefore administrators have always been very careful not to lose votes because of migration policies. I was always asked, but social contributions that you give, what's the proportion that is devoted to migrants? That was the question I was asked. What are the privileges that migrants have as compared to the Italians? This is what I was asked, and by politicians. And I'm not inventing anything, they are recorded. So it's not, the question asked by politicians was not how is the community working, is the community functioning, is cohabitation good, is it possible? I speak on my personal behalf, but I've always tried with my social workers to avoid being too harsh or too good. I've tried to be just, but the political context I was in has always been very difficult. In my welcoming remarks, I gave you the welcoming remarks on behalf of the mayor of Viadana. I called him to know how the voting was going on, and he says that he asked me to tell you that if he's elected, he wants to continue on the project. I'm telling you this because he asked me to tell this to you. Well, but I'm happy about this because it means that strategies change points of view. So dealing with migration is not a problem, it is a strategy of cohabitation. I think I've been lucky. I've been lucky because I've been involved into this project. Because I didn't work on it so much. It's people who spoke before me and those that will speak after me who have been deeply involved. I've been lucky enough to be involved in this project. Of course, I've supported it from a political viewpoint, but I just had a lot of privileges from it. The main privilege I had, and I think that it's important for administrators, is having the opportunity to go to Ireland and Luxembourg and to see differences within Europe. So how we do not have a truth. Somebody said we have to be humble as trainers. I think that we should all be humble, not only trainers, looking for common shared cohabitation rules. So to me it was a very important experience. It opened my mind a lot, and it showed me that the problem of cohabitation is much more complex. So it's not only housing or food or children. It is a much wider issue. It involves everyone and myself as well, and it involves my sons and daughters even more. My sons and daughters will have a boss whose history is very different from theirs. And he or she should not be an enemy, should be somebody my daughter and son can talk to and work with. In my capacity of an administrator, I had this big opportunity to open up my horizon, and a personal issue is the issue of communication and language. I'm very ignorant. I don't speak English, for example, and it's so difficult to communicate, to find a common language. And so I hope that politics can deal correctly with this issue and achieve a much wider vision and stop thinking of other people as enemies, but consider them as different peoples that can help each other to grow. I think this is what makes us richer. And I hope that the administrators we elect will be able to do this.